we are back, people, for another. Ooh, by the way, by the time this, why am I fly? Oh yeah, it's pretty hot at midnight. By the time you see this episode, it'll be like I don't know, after Christmas. Just so you know, got to get a hold of these artists, you know. So again, you are watching RoRo After Midnight. Ram. My show is on Mondays through Fridays, 9 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Central, and midnight Eastern. You can follow me on Facebook. Just type in RoRo the Tenor. When you see this logo, click on it, follow it. Or you can go to my YouTube channel at Filipino Tenor. You can also find me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at RoRo the Tenor. Why am I? Oh, there it is. Also, if you have time to show your support, please contribute using Venmo to at RoRo the Tenor. It's for the upkeep of all this. See how, like, you know, fancy this is? By the way, those are doilies. Oh, doily. Anyway, so yeah, just show your support. And also, always remember to stay safe, get vaccinated, and keep wearing masks whenever possible. So to our show, we have a special guest today. But before I bring him, it's a him to the panel, this panel right here in front of you. Just want to let you know, he was a former All-American college football player and now an American-based opera singer, performing mostly with the Metropolitan Opera as well as in La Scala, Sydney Operas, and all over the world. Yes! Let's bring in, without further ado, Mr. Morris Robinson. Yay! Hey, Morris, how are you doing?
Hey, man, what's happening? How are you?
I'm doing fine. So, by the way, by the time they see this, by the way, here it's like live and it's on the day of, but trying to get, you know, after Christmas, it's going to get hard to get a hold of people. So we are pre-recording this. So Christmas has not happened yet. So let me see here. So ladies and gentlemen, in your midst right here is Mr. Morris Robinson. You can find him on Instagram at MDR Base. What does MDR mean?
That's my name, man. Morris Duran Robinson. No one ever calls me by Duran. That's my middle name, but most people that grew up with me call me as that. Yeah.
Like, it's like Mr. Doctor, but in one word. MDR Base. And also check out his website at www.morrisrobinson.com. Okay. Before we do anything else, we always start with Joke of the Day. There you go. Joke of the day. And guess what? Joke of the day is Spit Take Edition. All right. Take a sip. You know how this works? You've watched TikTok and everything. Hopefully you don't spit, you know. I mean, I want people to spit, but, you know. Okay, here's the joke of the day. What does a peanut butter and a stripper have in common? Oh, wait. Go sip. Oh, my God. No, you got to keep it in your mouth. All right. Keep it in your mouth. What does a peanut butter and a stripper have in common? They both spread for bread. Yes.
That was good. That was good. That was good.
Okay, from Morris. Thank you very much for indulging me with that. That was our joke of the day. And we are here with Morris Robinson Base. All of his info are down there as well as mine. So anytime you're here and just feel like, oh, what am I watching? Just look down and then look up. Now, the first thing in the agenda is getting to know you. All right, getting to know Morris. So yeah, just tell us about, where you're, things about you. I think I put
you. I'm Morris Robinson, born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia. Currently live in a small town called Tyrone, Georgia, which is out in the country. I started singing early in life because my mother made me do so because I didn't like singing. I did the Atlanta Boy Choir when I was 7 years old. I was a first soprano, then a second soprano. I grew up playing the drums in my church and started singing in high school because I dropped out of the marching band because I knew if you were in a marching band, you couldn't be on the football field. So, and I was at a school of the arts. So The only way to stay in that current school was to join the chorus full time so I could play football and not be in the band. So I quit the band, joined the chorus, and started playing football. That's how I started singing.
So where do you live now?
I live in Tyrone, Georgia. It's a small town just south.
Oh, so you're like born and raised and residing in Georgia.
Back there.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. You got kids? One?
I got one kid, 16-year-old boy.
Wow. How's that, by the way? How's that going?
It's really interesting you would ask that question because as he was growing up and getting used to dad always being on the road, the life that we lead, I was gone 90% of the time. And he's getting older. He just started high school right about the time the pandemic was about to start. And, we didn't know it was going to start. But I was always trying to figure out, like, Lord, when am I going to have time to spend with my kid? He's growing up a young man without his dad, pretty much. And then the pandemic hit, and it went from no dad to dad 24/7 for almost 2 years. So his life has completely changed. Our relationship has completely changed. And
you know what? I envy that. Yeah. You know what? Personally, for me, my relationship with my dad is totally different. And then for you, even though you had that 2 years, but it was like continuous. And you know what? I think that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. By the way, before we continue, it's like, since we're, getting to know Morris more, we're going to do some fact checking. I did some digging in the Wikipedia. Okay. First fact check is, are you really the first African-American artist to sign with a major classical record label?
That's what they said, but I think that was in the last 50 years.
50
That's
years.
what they meant, because I signed my record deal in 2007, and so it was the first one in the last 50 years. But that's some kind of way, whoever does Wikipedia, whoever edits these things, left that part out. So
okay, see,
it's true to an extent, yes.
Okay, see, it's a good thing I'm like doing these fact checks, right? In case people are like, at least there you go, you heard it here, okay? Because you know what, Jesus saw it. Jesus saw it. I saw that.
Well, I didn't get a cheat sheet for these questions beforehand. I feel attacked.
All right. Next one. Did you only play offensive lineman?
In college, I started out as a defensive tackle, and then spring break my freshman year, I left and came back, and they're like, "Okay, you're offensive guard." So I played offensive guard the whole time I was in college. So yeah, so
you did like it. You didn't like the other where you started, or would you prefer?
Well, at first, it's kind of a slap in the face, because the better athletes play defense, and if you're not that great of an athlete, they move you to offense. So it's kind of the last stop on the football field before there's no football for you. So, but I learned to embrace it because I actually got a chance to play it pretty aggressively. So the style of offense we ran was a pretty aggressive offensive lineman, so it worked out great for me. All
right, and the last one is, did you co-found your school's gospel chorus?
That's true. That's very true. Yeah. Me, Kenyatta Jackson, and Charles Wallace had a piano one night in Mark Clark Hall, kind of messing around with it and harmonizing. And then it turned into 4 people, then 6 people, then 7 people, then 10 people, then a choir. And I was actually the pianist too, which I'm terrible. So just goes to show you the level of musical talent.
You know what? Block chords.
Yes. These hands are not meant for that. They were meant for this,
Exactly. Thank you so much. For people who are just joining us, you have been watching RoRo After Midnight. All right. Now the next part of the show is called You're Such a Trauma Queen. All right. So just tell you're such a trauma queen. Where's my diva? No, I did not put my diva. It's like, we're going to throw some shade right here, okay?
Okay.
Throw some shade right here with some, I don't know if we are, but tell us about, as a performer, okay? I mean, as a regular person, we all have these traumatic moments, like, oh my God, I went to the grocery store and this and that. But as a performer, something that happened to you that every time that kind of scenario happens, you always think about, oh, I remember that time when that happened.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Can you think of something?
Yeah, I can think of it in the very show that we're in together. In fact, at the very opera house, it was my first time singing a full aria on stage, and it was an international broadcast on 10 days rehearsal, and I was doing my first Sarastro, so I had to walk out in the same costume even and sing Oasis at that same spot. So every time I say, in the German and or the English, when I get ready to announce that we're going to pray, those butterflies hit, because the first performance, I had reflux. It was early. I was nervous as I could be. It was probably the worst I've ever sung in public. Like I could not sing any worse
Oh
than
my
that.
God.
So
I'm
even
so
today,
sorry to bring that up then.
even today, or even tomorrow when we're on stage, when I walk out to sing Oasis, someone's like, "Oh crap! Oh crap! Oh shit! Oh shit! Is it going to work? Is it going to work?" And I've sung it over 100 times at the minute now, but still, that it just triggers me. So I'm like, you have to think long, legatissimo lines, and it's impossible to do so when your first experience in that very house, same costume was that. So I think I've learned to master it now, but it triggers me very much. So.
Oh my God. Well, sort of hear that. So that was our.
Well, thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah. So I'm the one who threw shade right here with that question. Okay.
Right.
So the next one is, and our next question is, this is where we do a little bit of it's called the worst of times and it's the best of times. What does that mean? Anyway, so what do you think were the best and worst things that you experienced during the pandemic prior to things open up and the vaccine? In addition to actually, you just mentioned it, in addition to actually spending time with your kid, like you actually bonded and you actually had that real closeness. Aside from that, or even you could even tail end it with, including that.
Oh yeah. Well, you want the best or the worst? The worst. I'll start with the worst.
Yeah.
The worst was showing up in Dallas to start rehearsal for my first King Filippo and Don Carlo, and never making it to the rehearsal space because they sent me home. The worst was losing that gig, and then the next gig, and then the next gig, and then the next gig, and every gig. The worst was losing a substantial amount of income for about a year. So, and trying to figure out what do you do at this point. The best, obviously, was like I said, the time I got to spend with my kid, I ended up going to I ended up coercing him. He was the fat kid getting picked on at lunchtime. He couldn't run very far in PE, and he was in the chorus. He went from that to being, at this point, 6'5", 335 pounds, and starting right tackle. So
wait. So how tall was he when he started?
I mean, 6'2", 282 the first day of practice. They weighed him, he was 6'2", 282. He was already
and then he grew.
But now he's turned into a monster of a kid. So they were very happy to get him at first. And now they're just like, this kid won't stop growing. And he's getting better at it. He's getting, more used to it. And he actually thrives on it now. So he went from being like the nerdy kid that wore like the button down, tucked into his shorts. And now he's, we wear slides and sweatpants and T-shirts with a nylon backpack. He's completely a jock.
So it's a good, that actually kept you at least, up there because, you're losing all this stuff. All of us did. But of course, there are people, there are performers who have more engagement that they lost, than others. But at the same time, you got this, kid that you're able to like spend time with. So, I mean, well, you know what? A lot of us can relate right now, with that one. So
it was great to have that, to have something else to invest in. And put my time
by the
into.
way,
some of the other good things were, there was a Rigoletto done on the baseball field. I got to see in Spot for Chile. There was Good to Dem run down in 2 parking garages. I was called for that. So even, when the gigs started coming back in their very creative forms, I was still at the top of the list of being called upon. So that was a wonderful aspect of the whole thing too.
And just a follow-up question. What have you kind of changed in how your lifestyle is now that that, oh my God, like for me, I'm like, I'm still enjoying life, but I know I can't do this as much because I have no idea what's going to happen in like 6 months. So how did that affect you?
Well, I think the biggest thing that changed was perspective, and priorities. And then, obviously we've all learned how to live off a lot less. And how we are as opera singers, especially, we always seek to comfort ourselves with things that, make us feel good because we're on the road and lonely all the time. So I've learned that I don't have to spend that much to be happy and to be comfortable. So the aspect of, not balling out of control for one, and for two, just perspective and priorities. Those big changes.
Yeah. So our next section is, see how I'm doing it? It's very unnecessarily so. Danger, Morris Robinson. Danger.
Is the corgi theme here?
It was like two. It was like a mashup. What kind of questions do people ask you that irritate you the most, or what topics do people start talking about that immediately gets your blood going? Because we get to these luncheons sometimes, but maybe not just donors, but maybe fellow colleagues. They're kind of like, oh no, they start talking about it, and maybe it's sports, maybe it's money, maybe it's the vaccine. But in your experience, what is it?
Well, I mean, it's for me, it's not within the walls of the industry. It's usually from the outside. As soon as someone finds out, or you let them know that you're an opera singer, they almost invariably ask me, "Do you do Phantom of the Opera?" And it just drives me fucking nuts because that has nothing to do with the fuck we doing. So it's like, but so that bothers me. And then you have the ones that, have you ever thought about doing The Voice? You should be on American Idol. I'm like, oh Jesus. Because they look at those as avenues and vehicles that we can utilize to publicize ourselves. I'm like, just irks me that, and I can't blame them because not knowing about it, not being familiar with it isn't their fault, but it's kind of insulting and just nerve wracking. So it's like, it's like fingers on the chalkboard for me. It's like,
well, I think, in my case, when somebody says that, it's one of those like, oh, do you sing Josh Groban? It's like, I understand. Actually, for me, I like Josh Groban more as a comedian, like, because he's a funny guy. He's a good actor. But that was the thing. So, and it's everyone's taste. But yes, I can understand exactly what you're,
Or, so you do what Andre Bocelli does? No, actually, I've seen your office.
By the way, we got, what is this? We got some breaking news here because I think we're being interrupted right now. This is RoRo for the RoRo Report. I'm here right now with Alita Braxton. Are you related to Tony Braxton?
I don't think so, but...
Then can you break my heart then? Hey!
And that was the RoRo Report.
Yay!
I was like, where is this going? Okay, now I know.
So that's the origin of of the RoRo Report. And so for people who are just we have Morris Robinson here. Morris Robinson is our bass guest. You can follow him on Instagram at MDR Bass, and check out his website at www.morrisrobinson.com. Of course, you are watching RoRo After Midnight. I just love playing with these things right now. It's like I'm indulging them.
You have a wonderful show, man. It was I'm honored to be on here, dude.
I tried to do it different than a lot of people, so at least it's because I want it to be a talk show. All right. Oh my god. Oh my god. Let me see. The next topic is actually, I call it, oh my god. And you'll know exactly what I did like that. Woke up to some chicken and beef. What? So basically, in light of the so-called woke generation, which things do you consider you can easily get on the program with, and which things do you think have kind of gone a little too far, or the woke generation for me is everyone has to walk on eggshells everywhere they go. And it's like, it's like before, when somebody makes a mistake, you just correct them and not judge them. It's like, dude, if somebody doesn't know what you're talking about, don't judge them. You got to educate them. So how do you respond to that? Have you experienced anything recently like that where you're so careful? That's the thing about the woke, is you're so careful what you have to say, even though it's,
I'm old school just like you are. So we've been doing this for a while. So we came from an era, that pigtail on an era where a lot of things that are deemed inappropriate now were just normalcy. So I've always been very cognizant of how I carry myself because I came from a different world. I'm a former jock. I'm a big black guy. You might not have noticed that, but I am. I'm from the South.
There it is. There it is. I see it.
I'm from the South. I'm very straight. I got all this testosterone energy with me. So I have to be very, very cognizant of how I carry myself in this business because I don't really, pass the the sight test of what just kind of fits in normally. So I've been well aware, but now I just think that things are so fragile that the level of scrutiny in which I made myself adhere has become even more so stringent that it's better to just kind of not socialize and not be around people, because I'm a hugger. I'm from the South. I like to talk to people. I make silly jokes. I say things that are considered off the cuff, and I can be, I don't want to fall into the category of being offensive or intruding or intimidating or any of those things. So I try my best to stay clear. Unless I see somebody like you, I know I can be myself.
Do you think? Have you traveled outside of the U.S. ever since they opened up?
Yes, I have.
Okay, now this is the question: how was the woke generation or community in other countries compared to the U.S. when it comes to the companies itself too? You know what I mean?
So, I shot a movie in Munich, Germany, and needless to say, I stood out like a sore thumb over there as well. But we were not inundated or even presented with any of the obstacles and or foretellings that we have to face in our business. It was just completely business as normal. And, I'm always respectful anyway, so it was never an issue with me ever being confronted by anything that was inappropriate. But I didn't sense that everyone was hypersensitive either. I felt like everything was wide open. Now, you know me, I don't socialize with my colleagues or artists in the first place. So I think for me, that's just the safest way to keep yourself out of the bullshit. So
that's going to be hard for me.
Yeah, well, but I mean, you socialize, I socialize, but I don't socialize in the industry. I don't hang out.
Yeah, every time I say something, it'll be like, I saw that.
Right, exactly. And it's just, I think you have to be comfortable to do art. I mean, you have to be comfortable to give your best self. And it can be very uncomfortable sometimes when you're trying to make sure you're hitting everything that could possibly come back and bite you. So it's tough. It's tough,
It is. Well, you know what? I think we have come to almost the end of our show. Ooh. Okay. So we're gonna show a little clip of Morris singing here, but of course, as always, before by the way, do you know that I'm the only one handling the whole thing right now? Self-produced, self-produced. I'm like, I have to be really, really fast at stuff right now. Before we show a clip of Morris singing and also let him go, it is time for all right. And this one, I'm sending you the pickup line of the day, and you have to tell it to me. All right?
You're sending me the pickup line of the day?
I just did. Here we go. What's the pickup line of the day, Morris?
Oh,
wait a second.
Goodness.
You want? All right. Yeah, get my attention. All right.
Repeat this?
Huh?
I had to repeat this?
No, you have to say it. That's the guests.
Wait. Okay, you ready for me to say it?
Yes.
Can I put some Morris Robinson edge on it?
Yeah. You got to get my attention.
Hey, I'm just kind of jealous of your heart because it's pumping inside you and not me.
Take him home. Take him home. Thank you.
That one.
Morris just brought us the... Ladies and gentlemen, that was Mr. Morris Robinson. And here is a clip of Morris. It's a short clip of Morris, the grandeur that is Morris. What's going on? That was
me.
flawless. Look at that. And he better work it.
I do my thing, you know what I'm saying?
Oh my God. So that was Morris. Thank you so much for joining me. And thank you for agreeing to do this. So, see, it's probably one of the shortest things you've ever done. See, we're done. Again, my guest has been Morris Robinson, and his Instagram is at MDRBase. And check him out at www.morrisrobinson.com. By the way, just a quick thing. What are your, after Flute, what are your immediate shows?
Yeah, so I'm going to Dallas to do Pro Fishers, and then I go do a concert recital, and then I'm doing Aida in Los Angeles Opera and doing it at Cincinnati Opera. So those are my next 3 opera gigs. So
nice.
Yeah, Dallas, say Pro Fishers in Dallas, and Aida, then Aida. And I think somewhere in between there's a tour in Maryland. So yeah, I'm looking forward to all of that stuff.
Awesome. Well, check him out. Please check out Morris Robinson, www.morrisrobinson.com. All the info will be there. Thank you again for joining us. And bye, Morris. I'll see you later. I'll see you in the show.
All right, man. Take care.
All right. Ooh, that was an amazing program we had. And you have been watching, yes, RoRo After Midnight. Ram. My show is Mondays through Fridays, 9 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Central, and midnight Eastern. You can follow me on Facebook at RoRo the Tenor. Just type in RoRo the Tenor, and you'll see this symbol. Click on it, follow it. Or you can subscribe to my YouTube channel at Filipino Tenor. My Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok is at RoRo the Tenor. And please, when you have a chance to show your support, please contribute using Venmo to at RoRo the Tenor. If you have any questions, you want to send it in a different way, just shoot me a message anytime. Also, as always, before I do that, the t-shirt I'm wearing right now is, see, Ram, RoRo After Midnight. See, that's what we're, in case people want to get a copy. One of these t-shirts, hopefully I'll be able to have enough funds to actually like mass produce them and then give it to everyone. And again, lastly, stay safe, get vaccinated, and keep wearing masks whenever possible, okay? And I will see you tomorrow, okay? Goodbye!